Hello, welcome to the Momxious Talk. Today we're going to talk about anxiety relief methods, and we're going to have an author with her new book. So stay here. Don't miss this episode. It's going to be awesome. Hello, I am Paola Sur. I am an anxious mom and a writer, and I invite you to rethink anxiety with me. Welcome to the Momxious Talk. So again, I'm Paola. I'm the author of the Anxious Mom Manifesto, 18 Lessons to Control Your Anxiety Monster. And this is the Momxious Talk is a space that I created to have conversations about mental health and to bring people that would love to share their stories and people that we can learn from. And this is very special for me today because I'm my guest today is an author as well, and she's going to talk about her most recent book. And I know one of the beautiful things of talking with people, especially about mental health and anxiety relief, is that you learn new methods. Every time you talk to a person, you learn new things that you can use to your advantage. And this open space is more to end the stigma. I don't pretend to replace this with treatment or any other anxiety medical substitution. This is not meant for that. This is just to talk and for you to know that you are not alone and that there are things out there that can help you. So okay, I'm gonna put the video of my conversation with Vanessa. So here it is. I hope you like it.
So I'm very glad that I have this guest today with me, and this conversation I know is going to be great, and we're going to have a lot of good tips for everybody. I'm going to introduce my guest. She's Vanessa Wallace. She's an emotional well-being psychotherapist and coach who has over 30 years of experience working with people in the mental health field. She trained as a cognitive behavior therapist in 2003 and worked in the prison system for many years. She has since managed addiction treatment centers and believes strongly in the power of group work for recovery. In 2017, Vanessa set up her business running 3-day residential retreats for anxiety and depression using her Rebel method, which we're going to talk about it. And she's about to release her book on the same method, the Rebel method, on October 13th. So we also going to be talking about this book. I'm very, very intrigued. Vanessa's mission is to help millions of women who have worked hard all their lives or have had to care for others and found themselves in a low place to find freedom from their shackles of anxiety and depression and move forward to live the life they truly dream of. So welcome to the Momxious Talk, Vanessa. I'm really happy to have you here. I want to hear a little bit of your story, how you end up being a coach and the Rebel method, how did it came up?
Wow, what a question. Where do we start? Okay. So how did I become a coach? I mean, thank you for inviting me, firstly. It's just really, really good to be here, Paola, and, be with you on this podcast. And so, yeah, absolutely thrilled that you invited me. Feel really blessed to be here. So how did I end up being a coach? Well, I've always been interested in people and psychology, which I'm sure a lot of people relate to who work in the field that I work in. But I went to university and did psychology, but I had so many problems myself, and I was anxious, I was depressed, I was an addict, I was using drugs. I was just not really working on myself in any way, but I still had this interest in people. And there was a series of events which kind of led me. I was a mom, at the time as well. So that made it very, very difficult, because I was trying to manage an addiction and my mental health. And I had a bad car accident, really bad car accident in 1998. And I had to recuperate, and basically I was in bed for like 4 or 5 months. And during that time, I started to reflect on my life. And I just thought, it's not going well. It's not going well, Vanessa. You need to do something about this. And I enrolled on a counselling course. So I didn't actually think that I needed help, but I wanted to develop my career. I wanted to move forward. And I was in so much denial. And I enrolled on this counselling course and it went very well. But the teacher noticed that I had a lot of problems and she asked me to start journaling about my problems. And she was very supportive and helped me to realise that I needed to do some work myself. So cutting a long story short, a couple of years later, I went to rehab and I had loads and loads of therapy. Then when I'd been in recovery from my addictions about 5 years, I then went and trained as a cognitive behavioural therapist myself. And I worked as a therapist in the prisons. So I got a job in the prison. I worked as a therapist on the residential units in the prison. I mean, what a job to have. You know, I had 3 teenagers at home at the time. So it was all quite chaotic, really. But it was very challenging and I loved every minute of it. And I loved just working with people and seeing them, you know, get results and do better in their lives and be happier. And there's a lot of crime is related to happiness and dysfunction. And, you know, there's a lot of roots in that as well. That's another story. But and again, cutting a long story short, I had another job where I worked in a rehab and they just suddenly let go of me. They had other plans, I think, for the management, and I'd been a kind of bit of a stopgap, but I was left with no job. And that's when I thought I want to set up on my own. And I went and did a coaching training, which actually was no different to the psychotherapy training, just a slightly different way of questioning people. It's a lot more about life plan rather than therapy of, you know, intense kind of difficulties that are going on. So I've now got the 2 areas that I work with. So I became a coach and I set up my business. And as I, you know, as you said in my intro, I set up these 3-day retreats. And so I now work as a coach, you know, on the retreats, but I also bring in the psychotherapy. So I'm a master of sort of a couple of trades, really, more than 2, because there's so much more that I've gained in my journey over the last 4 or 5 years. We do yoga, we do meditation, and all those things link into the Rebel method. And I think that was the second part of the question.
Yes, I want to know about the method because I know it's like your core program.
Yeah.
And your book is about it. So let's talk about the Rebel method.
Okay, so the Rebel method is, you're absolutely right, Paula. It's developed from everything that I know and feel and have learnt myself that works for anxiety, depression, not so much addiction, but for people who struggle with anxiety, depression, and you know, perhaps other kind of mental health issues. But primarily, it's focused on people who are who've had a kind of tough life and have maybe been looking after a lot of other people throughout their lives, and there may be some history of dysfunction in the family previous. So I'm doing a little bit of ancestral stuff at the moment, but it's like what comes before us is sometimes really important.
Yeah.
The Rebel method is I'll go through each stage. So the R is remove the inner critic, because we all carry an inner critic and we kind of need that. It keeps us alive. However, it just gets too loud, and you know, we need to not remove it, perhaps manage it a little bit better, find a way to have a relationship with that inner critic. The E is educate about the mind, so understand what's going on, understand the neuroscience, understand what's happening in your brain, understand why you're triggered in some situations, understand, you know, why your brain does certain things, you know, why we sometimes get those days where we just don't want to do anything. You know, when we understand that, we can be more compassionate with ourselves. The B is be yourself. So find out who you are. You know, I use loads of different questionnaires to help people identify what their personality traits are, because we're all different. We all have different values. We all operate in a different way. Some are introverts, some are extroverts. And it's really important to know that stuff so that then you can accept yourself for who you are and not expect yourself to be somebody different, which I think is the root of a lot of our problems today, especially with depression, where we feel like we should be somebody different to who we are. The next E is eliminate anxiety, depression. So, you know, just continuing to work on those areas with everything from the first 3 steps and the L is live the life you dream of. And both of those steps have different exercises. Sometimes we do some inner child work. Sometimes we look at perhaps, what's happened in from your parents. We look at what patterns we have in our lives. And we look at changes. I mean, with the live the life you dream of, we look at changes you can make, perhaps putting boundaries in. And, boundaries is such a big area, because our boundaries just get violated in all sorts of ways. I mean, I don't mean just from abuse. I mean, just when we say yes to things when really we mean no, or we say no to things when really we should be saying yes. So it's about aligning with yourself, really, and being you. And life starts to drop into place once you've done all those steps beforehand.
It sounds awesome. I wish I would have known about this years back when I was so struggling with anxiety. Well, right now I'm a little better. But I want to ask you, because based on my experience, I know a lot of people, and especially moms, are afraid to open up in groups about their anxiety. It's just like that fear of being judged. But you recommend this group therapy. What do you tell to those moms? Like, why it's important to be in a group? What is important to have that support?
I mean, group work is just so brilliant. And the reason it's brilliant, and the reason also it's, I get it. It's scary. I mean, I work with a lot of people who say, oh, I'm not sure about a group. But when you go into a group that's led by the right facilitator, so somebody who can keep that group safe, you find yourself in a room of people who go, yeah, me too. And that is just the biggest thing that can help to cure us. For me, when I went into a group, when I went to rehab, and I realized that I was not the only person who thought the way that I did, that I was not the only person who'd made mistakes, that other people had done that as well, that I wasn't perfect and that was okay. And just hearing other people's experiences helps us to open. It gives you permission to open up, because essentially we are all the same. We're all human beings. I know I said before we're different, but we are all human beings, and we have these basic natures. And a lot of stuff that we hide, actually somebody else, if you told them, they go, oh yeah, I'm like that as well. So it's really, the group experience is really valuable. The other thing it can do is it can help to kind of heal some of the family stuff, some of the support that we haven't had, because you can find that you can get support from other people in a group. I mean, it's not for everybody. And some people that I work with, they really are not ready for a group. But, if you're thinking about it, I mean, so if anybody's watching this and you are thinking about joining a group, just take that step. Just, it's scary. And the reason it's scary is because your brain will tell you, don't make yourself vulnerable in front of strangers. Because in the past, when we were prehistoric man, if we made ourselves vulnerable in front of strangers, we probably would have got killed.
Yeah.
So showing vulnerability was a really bad thing. And your brain is still programmed to tell you not to be vulnerable when you're around a group of strangers. But you're going into a group, it's run by a facilitator. Make sure that it's a good facilitator. Check out the facilitator and make sure that they know what they're doing, that they've run groups before, and that they know how to keep a group safe. Because the worst thing is when you get a group that is chaotic, nobody really knows what they're doing, there's no guidance. That can be re-traumatizing in a way, and that can make it quite a not very nice experience.
Yeah. And you work also with people one-on-one, as I understand.
That's correct. Yeah, I do a program called the Transform Your Life program, which actually is based around the Rebel methods, but it's a 12-session program. So I run those on Zoom. So it's 12 sessions with me. You get a workbook sent to you. There's also support in between the sessions. So, we can have email support or messenger support in between the sessions. And there's homework every week, things to fill in between the sessions. It takes you on a journey over the 12 sessions. So you can either do that over 3 months or 6 months, dependent on, what works for people. But that, it's an amazing program. And, I really love doing that, but I have a limited amount of people that I can work with them on that, obviously.
And how about the book? Like it's coming very, very soon. So like talk about your book. Like I know it's about the rebel method, but what a person will take when reading that book.
So the book is the foundation of all the methods. So what a person will get from reading the book, because there's also links throughout the book to all my resources. So you'll get some meditations, you'll get some little exercises to do with each chapter, with each component of the rebel method. There's also, an understanding of who I am as well. I'll tell a little bit about my story, go into that in quite a lot of depth as well. So you hear about that. But then the rebel method is, it gives you a real taste of what that's like. And I would actually say if somebody read the Rebel Method, the book, and did all of the exercises, they would really start to feel a lot better within their life, because they're all the exercises that I have done and used myself that got me to a place that there's like 3 points in my life where I carried out these particular parts. So, recognizing that I had an inner critic, understanding about my brain, being myself a lot more, and then doing all the sort of mindset exercises, which are all in the book as well. So it's, it's a really helpful book tool to just use, if you want to just buy it and give it a go as well.
It's going to be available in Amazon, or where can we find the book?
So the book is being launched on the 13th of October. It's not actually available as yet. There is a page on my web. Obviously, I've got a launch, which is in the UK. So I don't know. I might be doing an online launch, but there's a link. I don't know if I can give you the link to the page where people can sign up to receive information about when the book is released.
Yes, I'm gonna share all the information here and in the comments so people can find you. Yeah. And I think it's awesome, all what you are doing, all the work you're doing. I want to ask you, like, of all these years of experience, what has been like something that has, been the most amazing thing of working with people dealing with the anxiety?
It's just seeing people being able to make changes and to live the life as they should be doing. I'll give you an example. I had a lady who was stuck in a job she didn't want to be in a relationship she didn't want to be in. And I'm not saying that everybody that comes to me comes out of their relationship and out of their job, but she worked with me. We did the retreat, and then we did the 6 weeks of sessions after the retreat, and she moved. She moved to the seaside. She just basically uprooted everything, changed everything in her life, put boundaries in where she needed to. She had an ex that was kind of really harassing her. She was able to put boundaries in there. She was able to find her inner strength to actually really take control of her life again and get what she needed and be in a place where she wanted to be, which was by the sea. She recognized through some of the exercises that we did that she so needed to be by the sea. So she took that step and did that. And I just heard from her a few weeks ago, actually. She's doing really well. So it's, it's just supporting people to get the courage to take that step and to, transform their life, which is what I did. I mean, sometimes I have to pinch myself at the life that I came from, because I was basically an addict who was stuck at home, who needed drugs. I didn't see any prospect for myself. And then I realized that actually I didn't need to be that way anymore. And it was a process, but I like to be able to give that to other people as well, give them the permission to be who they're supposed to be, to lay the boundaries, to just live the life. It just gives me absolute joy. I've got a lot of older women that I'm working with at the moment who are retired, and they're like, oh, life is over. I'm retired. Retirement now is like, 70 years old. They've still got another 20 years ahead probably. And they're just like finding all these new things to do and tapping into a new part of themselves that they never knew existed because they just work, or taking care of other people all through their lives. And now they've got this freedom, and that's scary. to have this freedom to just be you when you've been used to taking care of other people. A lot of mums as well, you know, when our children grow up and leave home, I know what that's like. When my children left home, I ended up getting students in to stay in my house because I couldn't cope with it. There was this real void. It was like, well, what do I do now? You know, I was so used to caring for other people. But I needed to learn to care for myself, and that's what I help people do is find a way to put yourself first. You know, and in the end, we're supporting the whole line going down to our children. We're role modeling that kind of that power, that that strength that we can all have.
Do you make the retreats in the UK or in the where are the retreats located? Usually.
So the retreats are all located in the UK at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Different parts of the UK. I've had a few people come over from international, to the retreat. So I'll always welcome that. And, I'll support people with, their journey over. I had someone come over from right over in from Asia. So, America's the other way.
But that's a very great opportunity to just go to the UK, go to your retreat, and then enjoy a little vacation.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I want you to invite everybody to look you up and get your book, and just, I would love for people to get to know this method, because I know it's going to help a lot of people. I know that book is going to change a lot of lives. So thank you for being so brave and develop all these programs and develop this book. I know it's going to be a great tool.
Thank you. And I mean, I don't, it's not something that I've consciously done. It is kind of almost like a bit of sort of a life purpose. I came into recovery so that I could give this back to other people, and just my life journey has given me this information and this experience. So it'd be wrong for me to not share it, in a book or run it, in the programs. So do you want me to say my links now?
Yes.
People can find me on my website, which is www.crystalclearcoaching.org, or I'm on Instagram at Crystal Clear Coach, or Facebook Crystal Clear Retreats. I did, I'm sure you'll probably put some links underneath as well.
Yes. I'm gonna put everything, all your information. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, and everybody. The Rebel Method is coming on October 13. I hope everybody go get this book. Well, thank you, Vanessa. I enjoy our conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it.
So there you have it. Just to clarify, the book is now available at Amazon. It's called The Rebel Method, and really, I hope you go buy it, because this is a very interesting method, and I think it's gonna help you, and you can learn from her theories, her experiences. So just go get her book. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't seen the other episodes of the Momxious Talk, you can go to my website and my social media. You can find me at Pau Bisur in YouTube, in Instagram, TikTok, Twitter is the same, or at Momxious in Facebook or in Instagram as well. I'm also having some promotions of some of my products. So if you go to my social media, in my profile, you're gonna have that information, so how to get those promotions. And also I want to invite you to sign to my newsletter. The Pulse is a weekly newsletter that I do with information that just nurtures and entertain, and for the mom who needs a break, that's the main idea. So I invite you to sign. And I hope to see you soon. There are a lot of things coming for the next year. I will continue with the Momxious talk, probably with another set of interviews in a couple of months. But for now, please go check all my material over there in my social media, in my website, and in my YouTube channel. You can check all these conversations, which were amazing this year. So I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you in my newsletter. So that's it for now. See you guys soon.